Hey guys, it's Pete from Pete for Anxiety here, the mental health podcast, breaking the stigma that mental health is talked about. Welcome in today's episode. Before we get started today, we need to cover a few things really quick. Let's talk about the Pete for Anxiety Patreon first off. It's only $1, guys. $1. What does $1 get you? $1 gets you into the exclusive episodes I am recording currently. I'm actually focusing on certain different diagnoses of things to show you guys what it actually looks like as it manifests in a person. So why not for $1, judges? Yeah, they said $1. I just checked with them too. See, they said it was okay. It was $1 anyways. Let's also talk about the Oracle Talk Radio Networks app. In case you can't be here live listening to me, watching this video, supporting the show, you can listen to it on the radio app. Why not? It connects us live to our 365 radio. Just go to your app stores and download the Oracle Talk Radio Network. You'll see the big old Oracle Talk Radio Network app logo right on there. Download it and it'll connect you to me, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, to Pete for Society when I'm live doing my thing right here, informing the world and raising mental health awareness. So where are you going to be? 10 a.m. Of course. Come on. We just talked about this. Pay attention for once. Damn. Do you all know how to listen? And as always, guys, like, follow, and share the YouTube channel. If you guys like what you're seeing, leave some comments, man. We want to know. I want to know if you like what you're on. You want to be on the show? Let me know. Hit me up at PeteVersusAnxietyPod@gmail.com. And as always, guys, enjoy the show. And by the way, did I mention to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well? Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure because some of y'all are hard of hearing in the back. May have to yell loud or get a megaphone or something. But anyways, let's get today's show started. Y'all have a great one. Enjoy. Welcome into the exciting episode of Pete versus Anxiety, the mental health podcast, breaking the stigma that mental health is talked about enough. My guest today is the one, the only, Olivia. Olivia, say hi to everybody.
Hi, guys.
Olivia, why don't you tell everybody a little more about yourself?
So my name is Olivia, and I put my TikTok username as my name on my screen here, so you can go follow me there. I post a lot of informational things about EMS and firefighting, and I am 21 years old, and I've been firefighting for 4 years. It'll be 5 years this November, and I just got my lieutenant's bars this week, so I'm looking forward to being here and talking about more about mental health and bringing awareness to it.
That's awesome. You got your lieutenant bars. How long does it usually take to get those?
It depends on how fast you want to move up the ladder. My chief in particular didn't get his lieutenant's bars until he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm the youngest acting lieutenant, female lieutenant on our department right now at my age. So I love teaching people. I love learning, and I thought this would be a good way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, that's awesome though. You youngest lieutenant active currently, man. You need to say that loud and proud, bro. You need to be shouting that from the top of a mountain because that's an accomplishment on its own. So congratulations there. That's so cool. So go ahead and start sharing your story as you like. Like I said, anything you don't want to talk about, we don't talk about. So it's all you. This is all about you, girl. Go for it.
So my kind of mental health journey started, unbeknownst to me, it started at around 8 years old. I was showing like a lot of signs of bipolar. I have depression, I have SPD, like I just have I have a lot of stuff going on right now, especially.
Yeah.
And I didn't get diagnosed with all this until later in my life. So it was very surreal, very
Oh, I bet it was like the list of things you got there, man. It's just Jesus alone, just those alone are just intense alone to handle, especially at a young age. You're not sure what's going on and things like that. And it had to be a lot for you to kind of sort through little by little and try and figure out like what is going on exactly. Because as these are happening, you're 8 years old. You don't know anything about this stuff. You just know something's not right and something doesn't seem right.
right. And I felt very little. I felt very just down. but my mom was doing all she could for me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But my doctors are like, tell me if you heard this before. Oh, it's all in your head. It's just anxiety. It's nothing to worry about. And I also have a lot of chronic things happening.
Yeah.
Like, I struggled getting my POTS diagnosis. Like, that was a whole 8 year
Yeah.
ordeal because my doctors are like, oh, it's just all in your head and it's just your anxiety. But then the older I got, the more I realized they were wrong. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying all doctors do that, but their goal is to keep us sick so they can get a paycheck. And I'm like, uh-uh. Not
Listen. So you said 8 years, okay? There's something called FND that takes 15 years to diagnose. So don't feel so bad that they missed something along the way because it's hard. Because sometimes you got to play process elimination, and with FND, it presents like a neurological thing. Like this woman I talked to, her hand did a claw motion like this and stuck. And she was like, yeah, it took her 19 years because she's in the UK. So she said over there, it took 19 years for her to figure everything out. So imagine that 19 years of not sure what's going on. This weird thing starts happening. Your hand starts going in motion like this. It's stuck and you can't figure something out. I mean, it could just be that they weren't sure what it was. I don't like when they say it's all in your head because a lot of times it isn't in your head, man. Something clearly is wrong here. Clearly, you can't figure out what it is. Just say you can't figure out what it is.
right. And I feel like as the patients, we know our bodies just, and also with like my autism diagnosis. Oh, you're just drug seeking. You don't have autism. I'm like,
Yeah.
um, yes, I get that a lot of people fake a lot of these mental disorders, so it makes it harder for us to get a diagnosis.
Yeah.
So, my
Yeah.
boy,
That happens all the time. So that's nothing new.
no, it's not, and it shouldn't be that way. Um, with my bipolar, last year was like the worst year I ever had with it,
Yeah.
and get diagnosed till January of this year. So,
So So let me stop you there. What is it like having bipolar? Give you a little more example. Like give us just some like a feel for some of the things you deal with because it's obviously tough to deal with.
um, the manic episodes were very, very intense,
Yeah.
very, very scary. It was like, um, and at that time too, I was hanging out with a lot of people who used like pot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Feel like that really is what, like, I didn't smoke a lot, but I did.
Hmm.
That is really what set off all of that. And then the kind of the suicidal ideations and like, because what's scary with bipolar is that when you're having a manic episode,
Hmm.
you when you're having those scary thoughts, you have the energy and the wit to follow through with it. Thankfully, I made it out with my life.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, I'm still here today, being able to talk about what I went through as somebody who has bipolar. Because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who didn't make it out of their pre diagnosis bipolar. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where.
Hey, by the way, did you read the screen really quick? Someone wanted to tell you something really quick. They're proud of you.
Thank you.
See, that's the motivation needed right there. And they also said they live with someone with bipolar as well. So, I mean, it's crazy though, because people hear that word and automatically think that they know everything about it, and they don't because it's different for each person and how you deal with all that stuff. And not you're a firefighter as well, so you got to deal with all the pressures of that going on too, along with everything else you're dealing with every day. So, goddamn, girl, congratulations because you've made it this far. You've made it lieutenant at a young age, and you're dealing with all these other things at the same time. it just proves that if you can do it, why can't someone else do it? You know what I mean? It's just all about the will of human life. You just got to go for it. And it's hard to hear that, when people commit suicide and they make it through it, because it's just hard, because you don't know what their mindset was at that time. You don't know what their problem. You know what I mean? A lot of it's just a hard topic to talk about for people in general, because when it comes to death, it's like, what do you say to someone when someone dies? What do you say to them? You don't know what to say to that person. No matter what you say, isn't going to make it any better, and everything else like that. So
Right.
she said, that's my girl, by the way. Did you see it? She said, that's my girl. You got this. Don't worry. You got this.
Right. And um kind of depression and bipolar go hand in hand, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
the case for everybody. Like, I was diagnosed with depression long before I was ever diagnosed with
Yeah.
bipolar, so I don't think that was the case for me. But it's just all about how you deal with it. And now that I'm on medication and stuff for it, I've been doing really great.
That's good.
Some days are better than others, but obviously everybody is going to have that. No matter if you have any sort of mental problems or not. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, that makes sense. So, some days it's hard to get through the others, man, but we just gotta power through some of those days. It's hard. I've had days where it's just like I don't want to do anything, and I've got to do the podcast, and I get up and do the podcast. Like, it's the only thing I get up and really do some days, and it just depends, man. And it's rough for me too, because I have depression, anxiety, so one feeds off the other. So, my thoughts will start racing, and then it'll feed into my depression, and my depression will take over, and it's like they're tag teaming you every day. And it's like some days it's just like people ask you what's wrong, and you're just like, and you don't want to talk about it because you don't know if they understand what you're saying. Because when you start telling them stuff, it's like, well. And the funny thing with bipolar, though, is that bipolar and borderline personality sort of tend to get a little mixed up down the middle, because they line up so like evenly together. But borderline personality sort of has a little more differences between the two, and it's crazy, because a lot of times when they're looking at it, they're thinking you have the same thing. But people I met somebody the other day said they had both. So they're like just frictioning together. So you've got a double dose of just everything going on, and it's just a complete kaleidoscope of just things.
oh yeah, and I feel the same way with my anxiety and depression too, but I can't I can't feed into it
Yeah.
because I have a job to do and it's to kind of help other people. And kind of being a firefighter and being a public service provider has kind of given me something to think about other than my problems because I don't like thinking about my problems.
No one does, but you're not alone. Don't worry.
So it's like I'm just trucking along.
Yeah, like I said, man, you're making great accomplishments. Only at 21, and you're already ahead of the game, man, and that's what's up there. So and it's rough, man. Like you deal with a lot of stuff every day, and it's like some days you get up, it's like, ugh, I don't want to be up. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And it's like then you got to put on a smile when you go to work. Is that you got to get focused, because you got to go out there and make sure when the situation goes down. Have you ever had any problems, like, when you were on the job? Did you have any issues where something just, like, started amplifying it at all and you knew what to do?
Thankfully, no.
Okay, well, that's good.
Thankfully, no. But I know it's probably going to happen eventually, but right now, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to focus.
You're good. Like I said, like, it's perfect. At least you know what to plan for, though, at a time. You probably know better than anybody because it's yourself. You know exactly what to look out for. And,
Yep.
and you already do you already have, like, an action plan ready to go in case something were to go down? You're like, "Hey, listen, this is what we do in this situation."
Yep. Yep. I kind of brought all my people together at my station and kind of
Mhm.
down like, okay, so if I end up going into some sort of manic craziness, you're gonna do this, this, and this, and you're gonna cover for my position as lieutenant and just carry on. I
Yeah.
will truck. You guys do what you have to do. But if you need me, I'm always gonna be there. Just it's very hard to think clearly with bipolar.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, don't hesitate to come get me, but I'm not gonna be thinking clearly, so But
Well, that's so cool though. They got a team to support you, so you're not alone when you're on the job. At least everybody's ready to go in case somebody has an issue. Somebody's ready to step in, kind of thing. I like that. I like that teamwork camaraderie that you got going on over there, and that's great of these guys to support you along the way. So are a lot of them understanding to what's going on?
yes, because a lot of them um, know somebody with bipolar, or because I'm not the only one with bipolar on
Oh,
there.
that's even better. Then somebody else understands exactly what somewhat understands what you're going through, and they can help assist too.
Right. And but theirs is on a much lighter level
Yeah.
because they got diagnosed fairly quickly after they
Mm-hmm.
symptoms, and I feel like the more it prolongs, kind of the worse it gets for somebody. It's probably not that way for everyone, but
It depends what one you have. Do you have bipolar 1 or bipolar 2?
um I don't remember right off the top of my head. My
That's
brain.
okay. I know because I asked because my wife, she has bipolar 2, and it's like there's different things about it. So according to Perplexity, which is this AI app I'm using to search something, it says that involves at least one manic episode lasting a week or longer, severe enough to require immediate hospitalization. Depressive episodes may occur, but are not necessarily for the diagnosis. That's bipolar 1. Just so everybody knows that's listening. That's exactly what it is. Bipolar 2 says that this is a type of both hypomanic episodes, less severe than full manic, major depressive episodes, hypo, hypomanic symptoms must last at least 4 days for it to qualify as that. And then there's another one called I don't even know how you even say this last one. It starts with a C, but it says also known as cyclomythia. The type involves both hypomanic and depressive symptoms over a period of time, at least 2 years, but symptoms are not severe enough to meet the criteria 1 and 2.
I didn't even know that one was a thing.
Yeah, you know what? That's great. I'm using this thing called Perplexity that I use to look up stuff during the show, just different facts or different things for people to understand, and it's interesting. And I believe this is Ash. Ash is saying that her husband has bipolar too. Which, like I said, I didn't even know it was a thing until I met my wife. She told me she is bipolar too, and I went to look into it to see what it is because I was just curious because I don't know what that is. Hell, I didn't even know what FMD was until I met somebody. There's so many different things I didn't realize even existed. Like what is it, borderline personality disorder? Like I didn't know that wasn't until I met a coworker that had it, and she started telling me little bits about it. And when I went and looked at it, it's so intense to see. It's like, whoa, this is crazy. Because if you look at what people are dealing with when it comes to that, it's like, damn, dude. But she said for her, she cycled through her emotions a lot of times. And she did a lot of little like quirky other things. So she may have had other things going on that I wasn't sure, but me and her hadn't had a full conversation. She just, told me a little bit about it and things like that. But I was curious because I've never even heard of it before. And I asked her, hey, listen, can you explain to me what it is? And she was very hesitant at first and then found out that I was seriously interested. I'm like, I want to know more. Tell me, please do.
Is Bracelet Besties my friend Ashley?
I think that's Ashley. Ashley, that's you, right? I believe that's her,
It took me a second.
right? You're like, who those bracelets, besties?
I messaged her this morning. I'm like, I'm having a breakdown. Will you try to make it? I need all the backup support I can get.
She said, yes, I'm undercover.
I
Guys, this
love
is the great thing about the show. In case y'all not watching the show right now, if you make comments, we can see you live on the show right now. I am actually showing them to her. She can see them. They're right here on the screen in case you go to the YouTube one. She says using her daughter's account. So, but that's awesome though. So, take us through a typical day for you some days. Like you get up, like the bad days. When you have a bad day, what is this you do to exactly make it through the days?
it depends on kind of how like moody I wake up.
Are
Because
you have a boyfriend, right? So, like, let me ask you this question though: for relationships, is it really hard sometimes, or is he very understanding? Because I'm sure he may or may not know a lot about it. Have you had to educate him about it when you guys first met?
I actually wasn't diagnosed when we first met almost
Oh,
3.
okay,
So we've kind of been learning together.
yeah. Well, it's awesome though. He's at least understanding, and he's learning along the way with you and everything like that too. And that's hard for some people that get into the things with people that have things they don't understand. There's rough times, man. Like you can attest for this to myself. It's like it's rough. there's some days that are rougher than others, man. You get up and it's like, I was talking to the host of Mentally Badass last night. She told me but she had asked her boy, thought to herself, she got so nasty in one night, and the next morning he's just like, "Hey, do you need something?" And she's just like thinking in her head, "What are you still doing here?" Is what she said. Exactly how she said it was the funniest thing I've ever heard. But I was like, "Yeah, I've had those days. My wife, some days, and I get into it, and she has rough days, and I'll still ask her, "Hey, do you need something?" And it's like I look at it this way. It's just like dealing with something addiction. If you're gonna be in this thing, you better be in this thing full forward. If you're not, you better just fucking leave now because there's no point of going half in and half out of this thing. Because once you get in it, you're in it. That's it. You need to either be prepared, strap in the boots, strap in the chair, something, but you better be ready to go.
Yes. And he kind of has his own issues with mental health a little bit. He has depression and anxiety and stuff like that. So he kind of understands to an extent.
Well, he
Where
understands somewhat though, and that helps though. You think you know what I'm saying? At least he understands that you something is there. He has a better understanding, better than most people. Would you not say that?
I would say that for sure. He's just very intelligent and very in tune to my emotions, and he kind of knows when I'm having a bad day. Like yesterday, like I was just kind of having kind of a rough day, and on his lunch break he brought me ice cream.
Yeah.
He just
There you
kind of
go.
doesn't even have to look at me to know.
That's a keeper. Is it got? Do you got a ring on his finger?
Not yet.
Oh, you need to, girl. He's a keeper. He's a keeper. Let me tell you, it's great when someone understands the other side of the equation and can pick up on those things. And it's great to hear that he is so supportive because I'm sure there's days where it's like he's like, oh Jesus, Olivia the Terrible's out here or something like that. He's probably got a nickname for you too when you're having those rough days that he says in his head, oh God, here we go. The evil side came out now. But it's not to make jokes of it, but it's to say that, someone that's going through it with you, at least they understand the other side of the story, because a lot of times we don't look at the flip side. And I had somebody on like the fifth or sixth week of the show that is actually a good friend of mine I met through TikTok. She had come on and was advocating for the other side, was like, hey, what about the people that deal with these people that have the mental health issues, and things like that. There we go. Be
Yeah.
patient. This is huge from the other side. Everybody, anybody that's listening is not watching this. Our good friend Ashley's in the comments. She just said, "So true!" Exclamation points. Being patient is a huge from the other side.
Yes, I agree to that.
Same.
Definitely agree to that for sure.
So okay, so you're 8 years old. You're dealing with all these things. When you finally figure a thing out, what is it like for your mom though? Is she like was she okay with it? She kind of like be a little kind of confused at first because it's all new things to people. I mean, like we've come so far, but we are still far from it when it comes to mental health conversation at all. There's a lot of parents uh, aren't sure what to do in those situations and things like that. Was it hard for her at first while you're trying to figure out the earlier years of what was going on with you?
Yes. She was kind of, I don't know. She never really talked about it to me very much. So
Yeah,
exactly, but I know my mom, so I can say yes.
yeah,
When I finally got my diagnosis, she's like, that makes so much sense.
yeah. That
Because
had to be a relief for her though to understand what was going on finally and how to better handle situations when you have certain issues, certain things that happen.
yeah, and she because at around 16, I started showing like really big signs like
Hmm.
the um self-harming part of it, the kind of the manic episodes and stuff like that. So it was like, and in the midst of all that, I was trying to get my diagnosis for POTS, and it was just a very stressful time for me.
Okay, so what is POTS exactly? Do you want to explain that to people? I heard you say it twice now. And
Postural
there
static
you go.
tach syndrome. It's a heart
There.
condition.
Okay. I'm just
Um,
making sure people understand what it is you're referring to. Say no.
huh?
I said I was just making sure people understand exactly what that is when you refer to POTS, so they know exactly what it is. Because some people may not even know what that is.
I didn't even know what POTS is before I got diagnosed. I didn't
Right?
even, it was quite the wild ride, for
It.
sure.
Oh, I'm sure it is. A lot of times and stuff you don't know what it is, and you get diagnosed. You're like, oh well, now that makes a lot of sense. Now I can explain why these certain things are happening to me.
Mhm. And my POTS isn't bad enough. Like, I always get asked, like, I know this question is meant with the goodest of hearts, but aren't you disabled? Why are you a firefighter? I'm like, well, literally, the definition of disability is affecting your day to day life. So it's like my POTS doesn't do that to me. So, no, I don't consider myself disabled. As far as I know, I'm still 16 years old and completely able bodied.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the same thing can be said when if they find out about everything else and go, well, what about all these other things? Like, obviously, you don't know anything if you're asking these questions. First off, let's start with that because clearly you don't understand. Just because somebody is schizophrenic or something like that doesn't mean they're unable to function in life itself. Please stop referring to the movie Beautiful Mind because that's not how everything goes all the time, people. Okay.
no, that's true, but that's such a great movie.
Oh, it is. Don't get wrong. Movies are great. And speaking of which, I have a friend that was on the show named Stephanie Aycock. She's going to be making a film about mental health itself. It's called Root, and she's trying to get it. Sorry, it's Bloom. What am I thinking? Wrong name. It's called Bloom, just straight up Bloom. And the way it is that it's part of her life on screen. Her character deals with some of the things that she has dealt with and stuff like that. Anybody wants to see it, it's called The Bloom. Thebloomfilm.com is where to go look at it. You guys can support it and everything. She's in the stages of trying to get it funded and things like that. And we were talking about it. And it's a way to look at mental health from a different aspect because it's not talked about. I don't care what anybody says. You could shout it from the mountain and say, Pete, we talk about it. We don't talk about it enough, guys. It's not because what you see is these clickbait videos and people say things about them for the first for a month or whatever awareness month it is for their month they choose it to be. And then 10 minutes after the month ends, that's it. There's no other conversation being had afterwards.
Yep, I agree. And I'm really looking forward to that because more people need to see the true aspects of dealing with mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to embody that so well.
It is, and it's gonna be interesting to see what videos they come up with and everything else. And then if you go back and look and see if they're still having the conversation about it, it'll be interesting to see there because a lot of times it stops. The conversation for them just ends. Okay, well the month's over. We're done talking about it. Let's go to something else. But it doesn't stop for us because we deal with it on a daily basis,
Yep. I have
right?
Yes, I have posted something every year for Suicide Awareness Day
Yeah,
because I had to do 2 honor walks within 6 months of each other from people I lost to suicide.
yeah,
And they were partners. So it was like, well, I'm kind of lost here without you guys. I just like I kind of I know what they went through with those thoughts.
yeah.
I kind of understand where that comes from.
Yeah.
But have you ever heard the saying suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem?
Yep. I have myself.
I mean, that's true, but I feel like that can make people feel very, very little because I feel like that's just kind of invalidating their feelings.
Yeah.
I'm not saying suicide is in any way, shape, or form a good thing. It's just people don't talk about it enough.
You're 100% correct. Yes, yes, you are. Just so y'all know, she paused for a minute because we're reading the following comment. There should be a series for mental health instead of all these stupid game shows. I think okay. So let's talk about that really fast. All right. I think the problem is with mainstream TV, you couldn't do it there. You'd have to go to like Netflix or one of these subscription things to do it because I think the conversation will get too real. Because if you all remember 13 Reasons Why, the ending of the show had to be changed because it was so horrific for people to watch that they had to edit the last scene. I don't know if anybody's seen the original ending or how it originally ended, but it was so intense for people after the first season because you're watching this young lady commit suicide right on the TV. Like you're watching it, it's happening right there in front of you, like real as day. There's no cutaway, nothing. You're watching the full thing as it's going on. And it was so intense that they had to change the end of the movie and the end of the series, basically, of the first season. And it was causing such a clamor for people because it was like, oh my God, this is happening. But guys, this is real life. Like they want you to understand that this girl was going through so many different things, and if anybody hasn't seen the show, it's great. The first season is amazing. Uh, it's like, and stuff like that. And it was great because it goes through the 13 reasons why she decided to kill herself, and there's a whole thing that goes behind it. After that, it kind of gets a little goofy and a little washed out, or like they go into the whatever the aftermath of everything was. But the whole reason I think was like I brought it up is because in the beginning of the episodes, it tells you that if you have certain mental health conditions, not to watch it because that's how intense it is. And if you haven't seen it, I suggest some of you go see it. And please watch it at your own discretion. It can be a little intense to watch. The same thing could be said about HBO's Euphoria. That one is pretty intense for a lot of people. In case anybody hasn't seen that one's really intense about the young lady that goes through all her drug problems and everything else. And it's actually the girl from Spider-Man, the newer versions of Spider-Man. Zaya, I can't think what her last name is, but she's on there. Zendaya, or however she says her name.
That one,
But you watched that one before?
yeah, that
Job
one.
done.
I'm like, this is so real.
Yeah.
And really, because I used to have a lot of friends in kind of the drug using kind of
Mm-hmm.
stage in their mental health kind of thing, but I never did any of those like really heavy drugs or anything, but I hung around people who did. So it was relatable for me to watch, but at
Yeah.
the was freaky because I'm like, that is my exact experience in life.
Yeah, and then you add in the fact that the what is it? The friend was transgender, and then you had the one with the dad's secret about everything too, and it just got so crazy because they just kept throwing all this stuff in there, and you're like, damn, all right, can we just continue? Are we going to continue this any further? And then what do you think it's over? And then another thing starts coming, and it's like, what? Hold on, and that's why I say if they do have a series like that discussing these things, that it'd have to be on a subscription service right off the bat because the limitations would be endless. Now I think a lot of people are going to be pissed off about it because I feel like no matter what you do, someone's going to get mad about something gets said, or they're going to say, "Oh, this isn't right," or "That's not right." Da, da, da. So get like even after that, you still got heavy criticization and things like that too, and it's just crazy because all we're doing is trying to have a conversation about something that no one's not talking enough about.
Oh yeah, and I definitely think comments like that come from people who don't get it.
Remember that we always treat something like it's a complete burden when we don't understand it. Like just think about it. When suicide's mentioned in a conversation, shuts down. When you talk about certain other things, shuts down. Or they're like, oh, well, okay, don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's go now. Because it's so hard for people to have that conversation because when it comes to that, a lot of people don't know what to do in that situation. And I think that's where the awareness needs to become more real is that we need to start educating people more on these subjects about what to do in these situations. Like, hey, you see a friend that's doing and following things, just kind of reach out to them. Even one phone call helps, call them, check in on that one friend you haven't heard from in a while. It helps a lot.
Yes, I do this mass group text every day to every single person in my contacts, no matter how bad I'm feeling, because it helps me feel better. I say, take a shower, do your laundry, take your vitamins, go for a walk,
Hmm.
and because it really helps me feel better when I feel down to remind people to care for themselves.
Yeah, I have a friend I check in all the time. I met through TikTok named Ken. Me and him been slacking the last few weeks. We actually talked the other day. I told him he's been slacking. I blamed him, so it's okay. I took all the blame off myself and gave it to him, but it's all right. But we check in all the time, man, and that's all it is hey, man, how you doing? That's all it is. Don't even have to be anything else. Hey, how you doing? What's going on, man? How you doing? And him and I are busy doing other things, and he knows I've been busy doing this, and I've been slammed with all this other stuff. And all it takes is 5 minutes to send a text message. If you can't find the 5 minutes to send a text message, then you're obviously not important enough to that person. Let's just call it what it is.
Yep. Yep. And my mom will call me every day and check in, and then we talk for 4 hours.
Well, that's okay, isn't that? Mom, at least mom's checking in. She's proactive.
Yeah. And I love talking to my mom every day since I don't live at home anymore and she only lives half an hour away. Like I could go see her whenever, but I just have a lot going on and
Yeah, you're a firefighter, man. Your schedule's got to be insane. What kind of schedule do you guys work?
I work 20, well, that schedule was when I worked as just a firefighter. I worked 24 to 48 hours at a time, and then I had like X amount of days off. Like I'd have
Yeah.
2 days on, 2 days off, 3 days on, 4 days off. Like it varied every week. But now that I'm um a training officer, my hours are just,
In case you don't see, she said they're just all over the place. Like you know.
but I'm starting to get the hang of it. Right now, I don't have any sort of a clue what I'm doing right now, but the more I kind of get into it and the more I learn and stuff like that. And right now, our captain is out on furlough and he's on vacation with his family, and
So
um
you're in charge, huh? They left you in charge, is what you're saying. Just say they left you in charge.
left me in
So
charge.
hey, man, figure this out. It's gonna be chaotic for you.
Good times.
She's like, I love my job. I love my job. I swear.
I do really love my job.
But you know what? Think about it this way. Like when you run into somebody and you go to these situations, you run into somebody that's having like some kind of mental health issue and you recognize it, man. You've got to step up above everybody else. And the fact that you taught all your teammates the same thing, they'll know what to do too in these situations. Like you run into somebody that's having some kind of issue, you can basically sit there and have the upper hand now because you guys better understand. Like, well, hey, Olivia deals with these kind of things, and just start applying some of the stuff they learn and start noticing the things for all you for you're basically teaching these guys exactly what to do in these situations because now they have the upper hand.
Oh yeah, and we deal with people. I love you, Ashley.
Ashley, by the way, says that she feels very special that she makes it to my lives every night. Ashley is a good friend of ours. She goes live on TikTok. She's 8K mommy. I don't remember the numbers in the last bit, so I apologize, Ash. I'm not thinking of the top of my head. But I wanted to circle back really fast to a comment she did make. She said, my husband's aunt committed suicide, and it was because they couldn't get her the correct meds. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You hate to hear the negative statistics of the whole situation.
Oh yeah, and again, that kind of falls back on that doctor just a little bit
Yeah.
because um again, I'm not saying every doctor is like this, but some people go into healthcare for all the wrong reasons. Um but that kind of falls back on that doctor because people fear what they don't understand. So,
You're saying it all. Keep preaching, sister. You got it. Say it. Tell them. Tell them in the back. They can't hear in the back. Tell them. People don't understand what they fear what they don't understand. Exactly what it comes down to.
right. And I feel like every doctor should have some sort of psychology background. Like, and as I was getting this promotion, I was in school full time.
Yeah.
I have a degree in psychology and physiology and a minor in human biology. Don't ask me what I'm going to do with that in my career because
Gonna apply it to your life. What do you mean? You're gonna run into somebody. You're gonna have a better understanding of the situation and better how to communicate with people. Think about it. You're in charge. You have background in psychology, so you already understand a lot more than everybody else does, just straight off the bat. So you can control the situation. Hey guys, this is what we're gonna do in this situation. This is what she's dealing with, and stuff like that. He or she's dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Like I think you don't think you're not really thinking the bigger picture, man. You've got to step up above everybody else. So now you already understand on the psychology side of things. When you run into an individual with a certain thing, you can control that situation a lot better than most people can. Like, hey, listen, I got this, and then just start giving the game plan out like you're the coach of the team, basically, just football team. Hey guys, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this, this, and this, and just start directing traffic.
yep. And that's never been hard for me to do. I was kind of a born leader. You can thank my
See, see what I'm saying? Look at what I'm saying. Born leader. I already do it. See, look, born leader has psychology backup. You're making strides, girl. I tell you, you're gonna be ahead of the game before you know it.
and I want to go back to school for um nursing at some point.
There you go.
I want to fly in the big helicopter.
You want to be an EMT for the fire department too?
Yes, I still plan to keep my whole like thing going.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Because you can move over to doing EMT spots too if they need you there and things like that. Yeah, oh yeah, that all applies to everything.
And healthcare kind of runs in my blood. It's just been always a passion of mine. My aunt is a retired ICU nurse. My cousin is a nurse, and was a nurse. She did travel nursing. She went everywhere. She went to Thailand, and it was just that's kind of what inspired me to do what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
They're kind of the people to thank, and I'm just like, and I have military in my family, so that's just kind of in my blood. And I wanted to go into the Air Force and be
Mm-hmm.
a firefighter there or the Marines. But right now, that dream is kind of on hold because I just have too much going on with my promotion and things like that. So we'll
Well,
see where.
you're still young. You're 21. You got plenty of time, man. To think, don't think of this as a roadblock. Think of it as you're going the path that it's leading you down. Are you religious? All God is sending you on a path, and you're taking the path. And I think it's great to hear that you're doing great things at a young age. You're 21. You're ahead of the game of everybody else, man. Just think about in 10 years, all that experience you'll have on top of everything you already know. Like you'll be like right up there. We're gonna be seeing you in the news one day, saving lives out there. Like, hey, listen, we know that girl. Hey, we know her.
Have you ever seen Chicago Fire?
Mm-hmm.
It's that one episode where like Kelly and all the crew is just like flying off the front page of the newspaper. I'm like, that's gonna be me someday. That's gonna be me. Making a
And
fool
to,
of
and to
her.
think what I was doing at 21. What an inspiration is what Ashley says.
I'll
I
say
I could tell you what I was doing at 21. It wasn't hell anything close to what you're doing. So you are an inspiration. At 21, you're making strides, girl. Like you need to shout it when you tell people, I got a lieutenant promotion at 21. So how about that? That's gonna be your flex on people. Like you're gonna get in arguments about this, and well, I'm a lieutenant in a fire department. So yeah, how about that? And just walk away.
oh my gosh. You act like I haven't done that already.
Oh, I know you did. It's okay. It's nothing wrong with that. Flex that shit out, girl, because that's impressive. Like I'm telling you, you don't even understand. Like it is impressive. At 21, I don't even know what the hell I was doing, honestly. Nothing too important. Okay, anyways, I wasn't doing anything exciting. So nope. If she doesn't go around telling everyone, I will. That's what she said. She's gonna brag it for you. I would tell them like, yeah, have you met my friend Olivia? Yeah, she's a lieutenant, man. Yeah, exactly. Flex on that, huh? So listen, you have the center stage. You're 21. You have the world ahead of you. What is your message to the world? Like, what is it that you want people to know? Because you're a first responder. You're 21. You're a lieutenant. You have your own mental health issues. You're big about mental advocacy. You have the stage now. You can tell anybody what you want to say. Here you go. What are you going to say?
Don't let people undervalue you just because you may be a little different. Don't let people drag you down because you have mental health issues. That doesn't define you. Um, don't let people don't let people undervalue you just because you're a little different. And if you can learn anything from me, go kick butt and do what your dreams are because life is too short to not follow your dreams. Because for a while I thought, well, with all my issues, I'm never going to be able to do X, Y, and Z or get a promotion or blah, blah, blah. But that was just negative self talk. And what I really should have been doing was, even though I'm a little different, I can do these things. I can get this promotion. I can do this. I can do that. Like, just because somebody has mental health issues doesn't mean they can't achieve anything that their heart's desires. Like, I'm a huge testament to that.
100%. You're leading the way in that. What do you mean? They're going to look at the dictionary and look at inspiration, and your picture is going to be right there. And your accomplishments are going to be like 4 pages long of just things you're going to do. Like I said, you're 21. You still have the world above you. Oh, we got another commenter here. Never mind. We're not going to answer that. That's something stupid. Anyways, but yeah, it's like I said, that's a great. That's all inspirational. That's awesome. Like I said, man, I love it how you say don't let people limitate it. Don't let people keep you down just because you're different than everyone else. Just because they don't understand you doesn't mean makes you a weird person,
I mean, I've always just been a little bit strange. I too am strange and unusual.
Nothing wrong with that. We're all strange in our own lives. It's okay.
Did you or
You know,
Ashley parents?
right? We're all weirdos in some way. It's okay. Don't worry. There's some things y'all learn eventually. As I decide to write a memoir about my own life, y'all will be very shocked to find a lot of things about me. But it's okay. I like being weird, and it's okay being weird. There's nothing wrong with that because the strangest people are the funnest people, though, is what I like to say. She
Yes.
said I screen recorded that. There you go. She's gonna post it now. Your rah speech on the show. Make sure you post that too on TikTok and tag me so we know. And look, she says I'm weird too. Look, see, look, we're amongst weirdos, and that's probably where we all get along, man. Is we're all a little weird on the inside. And it's great though. She said weirdos unite.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about this show. I love doing these things live because you get these people that comment shit live. And Ashley is a friend of ours, by the way, so we know she is. Everyone else that's watching, guys, so we appreciate y'all coming by and watching. Feel free to say something if you like in the comments and things like that because Olivia can see them. She's an inspiration to everybody. She really is. At 21, this girl's doing things that none of us would have done at 21 that we would even thought of, So hats off to you 100%. You want to give Mama a shout out or anybody else on the show right here? Hi, Mom. How you doing? You could call her out. Could give her a shout out. Let her know.
My dad has been a huge rock for me in the last year. So my dad.
Yeah. You want to say his name? Want to give him a shout out? Like I said, I'll make sure to clip this part of it for him. Then we can send it to him so he can see it.
Dad, my dad's Sean. You are my big sweetheart, and I love you. Thank you for supporting me in all my endeavors. And I just really love you. And Mom too, really. My mom, Chris. She's just been a big rock for me. And she literally had to grip me by the shoulders one night and say, she looked me like dead in the eyes. You know how moms do? You know how you can do anything you set your mind to. Like, and her grip on me was so tight. I'm like, okay, you're right. I can do this.
She's like, okay, Mom, you're staring into my soul. Can you please stop? It's scaring me. All right. Well, shout out to Mom and Dad, by the way. Thank you so much. Because if it wasn't for you, Olivia couldn't inspire somebody, man. For her to get to where she's at 21 is nothing but a hats off accomplishment. It's really great. She even had the strength to come on the show and talk about her own issues, which is hard for a lot of people to do. So, I appreciate you coming by and doing all that and everything else. And it's rough, man. Trust me. It's easier. It's hard at first, but once it gets going, man, you just start letting it flow, man. It's fun too. She said she's hugging us both right now.
Thank you.
We love you. We love you, kiddo. It's awesome. I'm glad to hear you're doing such great things. And we look forward to the future to hear what you're going to do later on in life. You know what I mean? And you'll have to come back and tell us more after the next promotion. Come back like, oh, Olivia's back again, guys. Here she goes. She's going to start flexing on us again. Damn it. Here we are.
Plan on it.
There you go. You plan on it. So, and that's awesome, though. All right. Did you want to plug any socials as we get ready to wrap up this episode?
My TikTok is at firefighter17 right here.
That's right, guys. Go follow this young lady.
Go follow me there.
Are you on Instagram, Facebook, X, any of those other places like I am, like V's everywhere you want me to be?
Instagram is also at firefighter17.
Okay.
So you guys can go follow me there. I would, but especially follow me on TikTok. I'm really close to hitting 5K, so that'd be very helpful if you guys could go do that for me.
Guys, let's get her to 10K. Fuck 5K. Let's get her to 10K, okay? This girl is an inspiration. We want her to get out there so people can hear what she's doing out there. And make sure if you do follow her, tag her and tell her that you saw her on Pete vs. Anxiety. That way we know where you saw her at, because we want to make sure people are giving her credit where credit's due.
Yes, I appreciate that. And you guys can private message me on Instagram or TikTok at any time. I'm a very open book. I will answer any questions you guys might have.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Guys, can inbox me anytime too. I'm pretty much at everything anyways. But as we get ready to wrap up this episode of Pete for Exciting, hey, Olivia, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate being here. I know you were a little nervous about doing it. So how did you feel about it? Let's just go over real fast. How did you feel about it? You feeling good now? You seem like you had a little more confidence than yours.
Yes. Usually cause anxiety sucks. Anticipatory anxiety sucks. All of it sucks. I'm just gonna be honest. It all sucks. So yeah, I was a little bit nervous. Ash can tell you.
Ash says that you can find her at her room at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Ash, plug your TikTok handle really quick for me so I can put it on the screen for people to see, and I'll tell everyone where to find you exactly too. So, because the one person that we're talking to in the comments here, you got to go follow her as well. She's really great.
Yes.
She tries hard. Olivia's always hanging on there, supporting her. So let's support the people that support other people too, guys. You know what I mean? But yeah, but that's great though. So other people that know when to come on the show, like I said, I tell people the same thing, man. Like at first it's nerve wracking, but once you get going, man, it's just like having a conversation with a friend, man. You just the conversation flows and it just goes great, and you never know what's going to be told on this show.
Oh yeah. I'm sure some of the conversations you've had have been quite interesting.
There's a few episodes, yes, Dave. We've had an oh shit moment of the year already, and I still talk to him now. He's a great guy, but he came out and said some pretty intense things in his episode. Halfway through the show, my buddy Brian, he's a founder of World Empowered. He basically is working on an app to help kids at younger ages to regulate all of their emotions and things like that. Brian had told us 30 minutes into the show about his ideations he was having, and for him to admit this on a live program where everyone can hear him, that's powerful enough as it was. He had more people texting me than anybody I know asking me if he was still alive, because Brian had said that he had felt he had really bad ideations that morning and was at the edge of the bed considering ending his life before he started recording the episode with me. And mind you, I've never met Brian before this point, so Brian and I don't know each other. And for him to come on and admit it to somebody he's never met in his life, dude, that says a lot about him.
That's very powerful.
That's intense.
How he's helping kiddos. It's not just us adults who have those issues. And even me and my boyfriend for that matter, we're both on the autism spectrum. We even have a hard time regulating. So, but for kiddos it's even harder because their frontal lobe isn't fully developed. So, I love that he's doing that for them.
That's awesome. Yeah. And there's also a shout out to Leroy. There's a gentleman in Canada. He's working with kids too. He's teaching them how to breathe before they think of a conversation. He has a book called And Breathe. And what he basically is teaching these younger kids is how to think before they react. He's like, so what, like he's talking to kids 5 years old, and the 5-year-old kid is telling him exactly, oh, you know what? I should have took a breath before I decided to make a decision. So basically, he's making strides too. He works as a principal and stuff. And he basically, he has these younger kids, man, and he's starting at 5 or 6. It's crazy. You're a 5, 6-year-old having these kind of thoughts like, oh, okay, they know where they messed up and they're talking to you about it. And before they say anything, he's like, they already know, hey, yeah, I should have taken a breath and thought about what I was doing next.
Yeah, kids are very smart.
So Ashley, by the way, her account is at AK_mommy. So go and check her out, give her a follow. You already know Olivia's. Give her a follow. Just next time she'll use her own YouTube account. That's okay. We'll give you a hard time about that later, just because we're nice friends like that. And she says that I do that at 42. So it's, which is great to know, because like I said, I meet so many cool people on this show. And if you guys are just starting to watch the show, trust me, just hit me up. I would tell you which ones to definitely check out. There's a lot of them that have had some interesting moments. I think the second week of the show, we had a woman said she died on the table during an operation and told us what it was like to be dead. And I was like, well, this is interesting, 20 minutes into the show, we're getting into this complete odds to the topic thing, and she just came up and said, and I was just like, oh shit, here we go. Oh, I think this is the greatest message that could have been just said here just now. Think before you speak. If you don't have something good to say, don't say it all. You remember that now, because if you don't, Ashley's going to come give you guys a lecture, and she's going to give you the browbeating and everything else, and just give you the eyes and anyways. Yeah. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap up this episode of Pete versus Anxiety again. Olivia, thank you so much for coming. It was so great having you. I'm glad you came on. I guarantee somebody's going to see this and is going to feel inspired to come on and tell their story. Maybe we can get Ashley to come on eventually. We can raw her on to the end of the earth and everything else like that. But you guys know where to find me. I'm Pete versus Anxiety on pretty much everything. I'm on TikTok, X, Facebook. Got too many things to list. I'm even on Rumble, guys. If you're watching this on Rumble, thank you so much. Appreciate being in. I'm going to try and do more broadcasting there. And as I always like to say, it costs nothing, absolutely nothing to be kind to somebody. It costs one kind act, could save somebody's life or hell, make anybody's day. I'm Pete versus Anxiety, saying, hey, don't ask how your day is.